Right, hello, welcome to the Codec Moments podcast. I'm Andy Brown, at Clinical Andy on Twitter, and joining me today, Dr. Matthew Holt.
Hello.
At Codec Moments on Twitter, and Ali Cornwolf.
Hello.
At Corn_Wolf. I had a complete brain fade then, I'm really sorry.
Did look like it's hurting.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I just went blank. How are we all?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, good. It's been quite a while, I think, since all three of us sat down and had a chat.
Yeah, it has been actually, isn't it?
Various guests and holidays and other bits and pieces. It's quite nice to see you both.
Yeah.
Does make a pleasant change. So we're here today to talk about the biggest event that's taking place in about 2 weeks from now, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, my birthday.
Yeah.
It is.
Yay.
Yes. Happy birthday to you.
No, don't be silly. It's E3.
Enthusiastic noises from me and Ali there.
Brilliant. Tumbleweed.
Yes, it is.
E3.
So E3 is coming up in about 2 weeks. Well, actually, by the time this comes out, it'll be next week, won't it? Yeah. So E3 is going to be next week. Fix it in the edit; it'll be fine. And we thought we'd come with a little bit of, well, I guess some of the news, some of the stuff that's been announced, a couple of predictions as to what we hope to see, what we think we might see, a couple of the ludicrous suggestions that we've had from people in our Discord server.
Yeah, let's do it. It's our 4th annual PrE3 show, and it's the first one people will hear.
Yeah.
No.
It's the first one being released.
No, in fairness, it's generally the post E3 one which we drop off on. So we've still got time to keep that tradition alive.
Yeah. Or we could just release 2016's post E3 episode.
We could, but I haven't finished editing it yet. So let me know if that's the direction we're heading, and I'll try and find that audio.
Bonus
In
episode.
fact, to be honest, I think I'm still trying to cut the crackle out of Cullen's audio.
All those cans.
Yeah, he's getting through his iron brew stash before they took it off him.
Okay, so I mean, who wants to kick off then? Who's got something they desperately want to say? I'm excited about this, or I think this is going to happen.
Well, I'll kick off because I said to you guys just before we start recording, one prediction that I genuinely had that I was going to go into a bit of detail about and put some real thought into, as just at the rug pulled out from underneath me, because at the point of recording 4 hours ago, they announced the release date of Death Stranding. So 8th of November this year. I'm excited about it, but yeah, that was going to be one of my predictions, that we were going to get the release date, and we have just before we said anything.
Just out of interest, were you actually going to go as far as to predict when the date may be?
I was. It wouldn't have been November the 8th.
Okay.
Would it have been next year?
What were you going for next year?
I was thinking sort of end of August, actually. I thought we might get a surprise and get it earlier. I'm still quite surprised it's 8th of November, in honesty, but yeah.
So Hideo Kojima's new game, Death Stranding, with what's his name from The Walking Dead? Who's
Norman Reedus.
Norman Reedus.
Yep.
My complete brain fade is still present, and Guillermo del Toro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looked like he was still in it appeared briefly in the trailer. He got Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
I don't know if I spotted a glimpse of him. Was it Nicholas Winding Refn? Or Refn? How do you pronounce his surname? Was it the guy who directed Drive? I'm sure I saw him pop up somewhere. So there's a fair amount of people in it, and I still have no clue what it's about. There's a post-apocalyptic postman that avoids ghosts, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, there's some great memes going around.
That's a game I definitely play.
But it does. I was watching obviously the extended gameplay footage, thinking Oh yeah, it's like Metal Gear Solid 6 without Snake. That's genuinely what I was thinking. So I'm looking forward to it. I am. It'll be completely nuts. They always are, and it'll be enjoyable as hell.
So, so for those of us who've not seen it, then what's the trailer? What's it like? What happens? Is it something you can actually conceptualize with words?
No, not even going to attempt it. It's 8.5 minutes long. It's a typical Kojima one. There's lots of lens flare and blurry images and babies in holes and wandering across landscapes. There's looks like a little bit of bridge building and some other bits and pieces, but no, it's not something I can put into words. You just go and watch it. Make your own minds up, see if you can piece together anything at all that's happening.
Yeah, I've not watched the trailer yet, 'cause it was literally released a few hours before we hit record. And if I'm honest, I have no feelings towards it at all. It looks weird as hell, and I don't know. It might be something that I'll see everyone else playing it first and make my own assumption, but it's definitely out there.
It's not your type of game.
I don't even know what it is. I can't.
Exactly.
I've not really. There is gameplay, but it's just someone running around. I mean, there's plenty of running simulators. Stu could probably give me a list I can get for free off Steam or something.
Just play Firewatch. I'm sure they're equivalent.
Yeah, same graphics.
Yeah, same graphics. I mean, it looks to me like it's leaning quite heavily on the more supernatural aspects than Metal Gear did, and Metal Gear leaned pretty heavily on those at times.
Yeah, it did. It looks like it's got quite a heavy stealth mechanic. There's combat, there's action. Until it'll be one of those. Until it is released, until you play it, we won't know what it is.
I've not seen this trailer yet, so I'm going to go away and have a look before I comment too far. But the previous stuff I'd seen kind of reminded me of what would happen if Everybody's Gone to the Rapture met the Black Oil from the X-Files.
In fairness, there's a little bit of that in it. There's quite a heavy vibe of what was the Russian film with the alien invasion? Darkest Hour.
Okay.
Where you can only see them under certain conditions. It's quite hard to say what it's going to be like, but Death Stranding, 8th of November. I was going to predict today, absolutely no point now, because Kojima's just done it all for us. And in reality, I think everyone's nicely surprised that it's coming sooner than they thought.
So have we got any other predictions that have been pulled out from under us?
Yeah, well, it's not a prediction. It was more of a question, because obviously Square are doing a show. My prediction or kind of question was, are we actually going to see anything about this Avengers game that they're making? Because they have the license for it, I believe, or some of the license.
Yes.
And then they announced on Twitter today that it's going to be at the show. Hey! Yeah, so who knows what that is going to be? Because I think, was it last year or the year before?
They teased it, didn't
we
they?
Saw something.
I think it's been 2 years since they said they're giving it to Crystal Dynamics to work on. That's why they've not been doing the Tomb Raider game.
I was about to ask if this was Crystal Dynamics. Now that bodes well.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping that we're not only going to get to see something of it. I'm hoping we could get a silly season release, or original silly season, not February. So maybe a Christmas release for it. Just because they've not said anything about it. So I'm hoping that we are going to get a release date as well, and this is what it is, whether it's an Avengers game. Well, it is an Avengers game, but whether it follows the films or what it does.
Oh yeah, whether it's standalone or something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like it won't necessarily follow the films, because I think they've missed the boat for that.
Yeah. Yeah. They may have had to wait until the films were over till they could do anything with it, just in case, because they could be following the comics, but obviously they knit very closely together, and they could be doing themes that could potentially have spoiled things for people that don't read the comics.
Yeah, possible.
So if anybody is looking forward to that game, you've not seen Endgame, probably don't watch the trailer for that, just in case. Would be a little warning.
Okay, yeah, I'm quite excited about the prospects of a Crystal Dynamics Avengers game. I'm not going to lie, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, especially if it's co-op as well. Can you imagine Avengers, but like Division? So you like get to go in as like a party of four and just go and.
Now you've just kind of ruined it.
Yeah, now you've just made me think of Anthem, and
no, not Anthem.
Now I want to go and shower.
Anyway. Sorry.
No, you're right. It is. It's just Anthem, isn't it? Oh God, no. Not that
Anthem's
way.
Not that
way.
The interesting aspects of that, and just focusing on what Ali's saying, actually, would be that you could have some really, truly different character classes, though. Because you could have Iron Man who can fly, and then you'd have Hawkeye who, stuck to the ground and jumping around. And that could be an interesting way of diversifying the gameplay. Although, would you end up in that situation where it's just like, I don't want to be Hawkeye?
Yeah. Or someone goes in as the Hulk, presses the wrong button, does a transformation, and stands there as Bruce Banner next to Thanos, and you're like, bugger. Press the wrong button.
Someone revive me,
Bang.
please. Yeah, that'd be quite good fun. Yeah, that'd be all right.
Yeah. I do want to see what that's going to be like.
With it being the Avengers, I think it'll have to come with the game. It'll have to be co-op in some way, shape, or form. I don't think it can not be.
It does feel like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right, so what else then?
I suppose another thing that is a bit of an open secret, isn't it? That it's going to be on display, but probably not as a major conference title. But the next Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, people can't work out if it's a reboot or not. But we've also heard, am I right, Ali, in saying that actually on the 30th of May, they're going to announce this anyway, before we even get to the event?
Or at least a trailer, because they put a tease out with just some audio, I think, or something like that. But yeah, there's going to be something tomorrow as we're recording on Twitter and everywhere that'll be about it. So obviously it's going to be, I say obviously, unless they decide just to show it on the show floor, but it'll be part of the Microsoft conference if it's anywhere, because they're not doing their own.
As far as Activision have said, and it doesn't mean it's limited to just this, it's only going to be on the E3 Coliseum thing.
Oh, okay.
They haven't said it's attached to it. That doesn't mean it won't appear somewhere else. But
because that's the thing for a lot of the publishers that, so like EA, although they do their own thing a little bit, whereas they used to split their games across several of the platforms, the big three, or maybe Sony and Microsoft. This time, it's either you show it at the Coliseum, you show it on the Microsoft stand, or you bring your own stuff. And if you don't tick one of those boxes, you just have to splash it on social media, which is kind of what we're getting now.
Interesting. I mean, I'd be surprised if they're on the Microsoft stand, if I'm honest, because of the tie-in they've had with PlayStation this generation for the early content.
Yeah, I don't know how long that lasts, because it was on the Xbox, wasn't it, until 2 or 3 years ago?
It was. I couldn't tell you exactly when it switched over off the top of my head, but it was.
I'm trying to think. Was it?
I can't remember which one transitioned over.
Was it World War II?
No, it was the one before that.
Was it Black Ops 3 then?
Think so.
I mean, not being rude, but I can't see them. I can't see them making a switch at this point when we're so close to two lots of new hardware, and until they know what the player base is going to be like. I don't know.
Yeah,
true.
But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, but like I say, anything that's not got their own stand or in the Coliseum will be on the Microsoft stand, I guess.
I mean, I can't wait because my interest in the series dropped off after Modern Warfare 3 significantly. So I want to see what they're bringing back. I'm kind of looking forward to this Modern Warfare 2 remaster that they've been talking about as well.
So because I know.
Go on, Ali.
I was going to say, I know they got a lot of flack for the most recent one, whatever it's called. I know a lot of people. Cullen, one of the people, has said how much fun the.
Is it Hardline? Blackout. Sorry.
Yeah, the Blackout mode, the Battle Royale kind of mode is one of the best around, but it just doesn't get enough exposure. But I also know that the Call of Duty themselves, Activision, whoever, have had a lot of slating from finance guys and whatnot because they didn't put a single player mode in, and I think that it scupper some of the figures and different things, so they've been told they've got to have a single player in.
Yeah, people didn't buy it because of that lack of single player. They said, it's not going to hurt us. They might monetize the multiplayer and they might make the revenue that way, but single player tends to sell the game in the first place. And I know that was it was a reason I didn't pick it up, because there was no single player campaign in it. Because I may play them for the single player and dip in and out of the multiplayer, but just didn't bother this time round.
See, I'm just not a fan of, unless I'm playing I think we've discussed this before, like a sci-fi shooter, a looter shooter, like Titanfall or something like that. I won't bother with any of the Call of Duty games where you've got jetpacks and that. Whichever one it was where it had it, it just ruined it.
I'm with you
me.
on that one. I'm totally with you on that one.
So World War II was really good, really enjoyed that, and I've hardly touched the single player mode because I just play it online.
I think Advanced Warfare was about as far as I got, and that's where they started to introduce that mechanic and stuff. But when after that, it didn't appeal to me anymore.
No, I think it's just because it's hard enough to kill people that have got like reactions of a fighter pilot and all over the place. I can take that. It is what it is. But when you then add the element that they could be anywhere on the goddamn map, and you're like, what?
Yeah. It was that point at which I just about mastered the drop shot, and then suddenly realised that I was just making myself a bigger target from somebody above me.
Yeah. And I hate quick scoping, but don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shouldn't be able to use a sniper rifle as a shotgun. There we go.
Well, there's some really deep-seated feelings in there about that, aren't there?
I hate it.
Actually, I think this is worth mentioning because you mentioned EA.
Yeah.
And they are doing that, like I said, doing their own thing again this year, though they've opted not to actually do a press conference this time round. So they are going to have hands-on, I assume, for the press only. All the new games that are coming up. So
whatever their press is these days.
But it's a big one around Jedi Fallen Order. So we should get quite a bit of gameplay on that. But that's only an EA-specific event. Is it the first 2 days that they run it?
Yeah, and I've been told that, or I've seen, should I say, that they're not showing the new Need for Speed at all at E3, which is baffling.
So is there a new Need for Speed? Because I thought the last one just killed the franchise.
No, they announced that there was going to be a new one sometime last year. But I don't know. I can't remember when. But there's definitely going to be a new one this year. And there's been rumours about it and whatnot. But for some, I think it's out in November. I think they've even put a release date on it, I think. But yeah, they're deciding not to take it to E3 or to their thing that they have.
Right, interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to see what happens with that then.
Yes. Need for Speed, No Limits, is that it?
Could be. Rings a bell.
Is it a mobile game?
Oh no, that's a mobile game, yeah. Maybe that is the new Need for Speed.
Need for Speed, no limits to the amount of money you can spend on microtransactions.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
The other game that's definitely been announced is 100% being will be at E3 is Gears of War. There was a little teaser poster for Gears of War 5 that's going to be there, which is a given anyway. That was teased last year, along with the random pop game that's coming out with the pop vinyls and all sorts of random stuff that they did last year. I think Microsoft, I know they're their only big player there in terms of a hardware and party and all that. Is Microsoft?
I was going to say Nintendo there.
Well, yeah, but it's just a treehouse thing, isn't it? I don't think it's.
No,
I think it's just.
They've got a show.
But isn't it just a direct reel?
No.
Are they actually on stage and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be fun because I listened to the.
Bowser's going to be up there, isn't he?
Oh yeah, because they did a Pokemon thing today.
Did they?
Or yesterday, and they now do it in Chinese as well because they're going into the Chinese markets. You have to listen to it 3 times. It was tough.
The Animal Crossing, was it?
Yeah.
That'll be their big. I think that'll be their big talking point. Yeah. The new Pokemon game will get some.
Maybe Metro Prime.
Oh, Metroid, yeah.
Metroid, and there's rumours about an F-Zero game as well. There's quite a few. The rumour mill's right full of it. But yeah, I think Microsoft could be very interesting because of all the different developers that they snapped up last year.
Yep.
That had already been working on things for them.
Yeah.
But then they announced that, we're buying you, we're buying you, we're buying you.
We're buying everybody.
And I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, let's buy everyone. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more parties that they're saying are now part of the Microsoft Studios umbrella.
With the studios they snapped up then, and in fact we've got opportunity for big announcements on what they're working on, even if we don't get a time frame for the releases. Do you think they will come up and advertise something genuinely different or exciting, or are we just going to get a whole raft of races and shooters from them? Because I'm still not convinced that Microsoft really know the type of game to pitch.
No, but
and they're a bit generic. As good as the games can be, it feels very generic at times. Now, I think they need something to lift them. And the really exciting stuff over the last couple of years is all the stuff that's got canned. Like, was it Spellbound, I want to say?
Scalebound.
Yeah. The really exciting stuff just disappeared, didn't it, off the map? It's never come to fruition.
I think they've got to. There's no if about it, because let's be fair, as it stands, I know there's an argument about which is the best console and all that.
No, this isn't even about that. I think as a company,
no, yeah, but
at that, you've got to have a reason to buy into them.
Yes,
and at the moment, I'm not sure they haven't. And everything that they do talk about and potentially going to show at the event is just going to be multi-platform. And it's great that you get partnerships with the publishers and developers, but if it's multi-platform, you can buy it somewhere else. Are they really selling to a market? They've got a great opportunity.
I don't know though. I mean,
a huge opportunity here.
I don't know. I mean, you've got to think of them as an entire studio, I suppose, haven't you? They've got 343. They've got Rare.
Yep. Yeah.
They've got Obsidian now.
Yeah. Ninja Theory.
Yeah. Turn 10. Yeah. I mean, they've got
Playground Games.
They've got some big. They've got some big franchises. And there's going to be some releases of those this year, aren't there? So, expect to see Halo Infinite, the new Gears game.
Yeah,
what they need to do,
long-running big franchises, but not necessarily something that's going to excite massively.
No, but they're trying. I mean, look at Sea of Thieves. That was,
I think that was something really different. That unfortunately, they just didn't launch it well enough. It sounds like, and Ali, you said, didn't you? You've been playing it again recently, and there's quite a big difference to it. But that's like a year on.
Yeah, but the thing I will say that's good about Sea of Thieves, although the content wasn't there, the gameplay was.
Yeah.
And they had a really good, although not very long-lasting foundation, but it was really, really good. It was very solid. The gameplay was solid. The mechanics, the way that the ship was in the water and things like that, and some stuff that they could have botched for the sake of content, but they didn't. And then they've added the content on. And I think that's why it's part of the Game Pass, was because whether they could, I know they did sell it, but whether they could say, give us 40 quid, here's a game, but it's not quite finished. The point it's at now, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff to do in it. There's so much fun. And they've even tweaked it now, so when you get hit by all sorts of stuff, anything that can damage your boat, you get different grades of damage.
Yeah.
So, you get a scuff, which you still have to put a panel on, but it repairs it quicker and things. So they've done a good job on that. But I do think that Microsoft need to really up their kind of single player games. But basically, they've got to do something to combat Sony, because at the minute, Sony are killing it with those games. Granted, there might not be an awful lot coming this year, because they, blew their wad massively in 2018, because we had God of War, Spider-Man, trying to think of the other one that we played. Obviously, they've had Horizon Zero Dawn. I think that was last year or the year before.
Days Gone.
The year before, I think.
and they've obviously they've got Death Stranding coming as well. They've just had Days Gone,
Blood and Truth.
Yeah, they've got all the VR stuff as well. So I think they're going to have to bring something from one of those studios, and I'm hoping that they've already been working on something for them, and then it was just a case of doing all the, crossing the T's, dotting the I's to get them as part of the studio to make it possibly exclusive.
Let's I do want to see something exciting, and you know what? It might even be just it's the new hardware.
So.
Because there's the Xbox One S all digital, isn't it? That is that out yet? It's not out yet, is it? That's out after E3.
Pass. I don't know.
It's coming. It's coming. There's potential for hardware revisions for the X that could happen. But there's the possibility that now we're in the window and the time frame, and Sony have already said, yeah, this is the kind of specs we're working with. Are they going to start talking about the next generation as well?
I think they may be putting a lot of their eggs in the xCloud basket.
Okay.
I think that they're going that route for our American friends, and I personally think that they might not be looking at hardware. They might just be looking at basically a thin client that's the back end is powerful enough to run it on whatever you want. Yeah. I think they've seen the light, and we've seen that there's a slight partnership with Nintendo. I think they've seen the light with what Nintendo have done with their console, and they're working on this massive farm of servers that will somehow push out 4K quality games or near as damn it to any console if they're happy to put that app or however it runs on their hardware. So people can get games everywhere. I have a feeling they may drop out of the console market potentially, or at least have something like the S without the drive and stuff, and go down that thin client route. So you can go and buy this little device, a bit like an Apple TV or something like that.
Stadia.
Yeah, and it's just there, but it's ridiculously powerful. And I don't know. I think, like I say, and I think Nintendo will be on Microsoft standard, or vice versa, or a bit of both. I think there'll be something there because they've already got a little bit of a partnership with Minecraft. You can play Minecraft on the Switch and you'll get achievements, and they've already said that they're working together on the xCloud stuff and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So is Sony a little bit.
So what do you think about this Fable 4 rumor that's been circulating?
Yeah, I think it'll be announced. I think Playground Games will be there. And they'll announce it. I hope that's if it is Fable. It could just be something completely different, or they might name it something different, and it could be maybe a prequel to Fable or something, or set in whatever time. But I do believe it's going to be at E3, and I think that's a given. They're just trying to keep it massively under wraps because it was announced, I want to say 3 years ago now, because we were unsure if we were going to get Forza Horizon 4, and we did. But Playground Games have been working on a RPG game of some kind for, I would say, 4 years. So I think we're close to a release and a reveal. And I think, I'm not sure if Microsoft are trying to play that game of not giving people stuff too early and then just giving it them, a bit like Bethesda do. I don't know. Or we're just going to get a lot of trailers this year and nothing for a couple of years. But Microsoft have got to do something this year, because if not, it'll turn a lot of people off.
If you look at what happened with, as Matt alluded to earlier, what happened with Scalebound, it's easy to get your fingers burnt, isn't it? If you push stuff too early.
In fairness, they've probably learned quite a bit from that. But you just said something interesting then. So go on. Bethesda. They've got a lot to talk about, I think, this time round. And QuakeCon, is it just after E3 as well?
Yeah, the one in the UK.
There's one in Europe and there's one in the US. I think they're falling on the same weekend or same couple of days. I think it's just after E3. It might be the back end of it, actually. So they've got a lot to talk about. And I don't think there's going to be a lot of surprises from them.
So is it the end of July, QuakeCon?
Is it end of July?
Yeah. No, I don't think there's going to be too much surprise. There's been rumours for quite a while that new Elder Scrolls game's on the way. We already know we're getting a new Doom.
They've already announced the new Elder Scrolls game. Unfortunately, you didn't get any footage at all. It was just like a backdrop and a logo.
Yeah.
Doom Eternal. Yeah, I want to see that.
I think that'll be out this year.
Do you think it'll be next year? May time?
No, this year. I think this year. I think let's go October. End of October.
I think it'll be next May.
And it'll release with VR as well.
Ooh. That could be sickening.
That's a prediction for you.
No, Doom Eternal we know exists and it should be good. I'll stick one of my crazy predictions in because I think on last year's bingo card.
I'll go on.
That we'll get Fallout 4 on PSVR.
Don't you say that? Have you said that every year for the last couple of years?
For the last 2 years, yep.
Yeah.
But we were vaguely right about No Man's Sky, so one day we might be right about Fallout 4.
Here's a prediction for you then. Because they're going for the craziness and what they did last year, I think Slipknot will be on stage for when they release Doom. Just doing some completely... because if they're doing Doom, it's going to have to be quite heavy, fast-paced.
I suppose the kicker is if Nine Inch Nails come on stage, we know we're going to get a Quake announcement.
Quake game, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they'll go completely random. It'd be somebody like Chesney Hawks.
Chesney Hawks.
Chesney Hawks in for the Elder Scrolls review.
Doom Eternal be the one and only.
Yeah.
And obviously there is rumours, or did they say something once about some sci-fi project?
Starfield. They've been working on this for years.
They are. They're working on it.
I think they've
again. It's just, isn't it just a logo and a backdrop we've seen on that one?
I think they've we had a teaser last year in at E3, I think, but I thought they'd said they weren't going to be talking about it this year.
I'm not sure.
I have a feeling Starfield's going to be vaporware, or at least it's going to be some time before we see it.
Which Bethesda game do you think? I can never remember the main guy's name. But which game do you think he will come on to the Microsoft stage with? Because that's a solid kind of E3 staple at the minute that he'll walk on, and he normally does it about Fallout and stuff.
I'd be tempted to say they'll do it with Doom.
Yeah?
Because I think a new Doom would be closer than any of the others.
Yeah, because they have a very good relationship, don't they? Between the two of them.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to say they might come on and talk about Doom that way.
I mean, they might use it as an opportunity to push, new content and continuing support for Fallout 76.
I wouldn't be surprised if sometime, like either straight after the event or for a week afterwards, Fallout 76 will be free. Not completely. But just for a week or something like that for people to try.
I wouldn't be shocked if it went free to play.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll take that as another Bethesda prediction, and they announced that Fallout 76 is going to be free to play immediately or a bit further down the line.
I would say immediately, but I think
they're going to do it.
I think
they've got to do it there and then to capitalise on the publicity.
Yeah. And I think as a worst case scenario is like a contingency, it'll be free for a week, or the week of E3 you can go on and play it for free to get a taster and get it for half price or something.
Right.
If it isn't completely free to play.
Okay.
If they do go down that route.
There's only so many times you can slash the price in half before it just becomes infinitesimally small anyway.
Yeah, true. So moving on from there, we've got Ubisoft.
Oh, I've got one.
Yeah, they've got
the wacky
show, haven't they? Yeah,
I love watching their show. I laugh every time. It's brilliant. Although I did miss, is it Aisha?
Yeah.
Oh, she hasn't done the last two, has she?
Aisha Clark. Is it Clark or Taylor? Aisha Taylor.
Yeah. Whether we're going to see anything from Skull and Bones, don't know. It's been delayed.
I think they have to remind people that it's a game.
Yeah. Because it looked really good what they showed last year, but then just nothing. I was expecting it to be out this year, but did they say next year or the end of the year? I don't
know.
So I haven't
kept up with the release date on that.
I've got a Ubisoft prediction.
Yes.
Anybody who has actually bothered to listen to our pre-E3 podcast for the past 5 years is going to know what's coming now. Splinter Cell. They're going to announce a new Splinter Cell game. I actually genuinely think it's really unlikely.
I don't know, because they seem to be teasing it a lot. There's little drops going in, and I think isn't there an Easter egg? Because Cullen's been finding Easter eggs everywhere.
They've got so much going on this year, though. So you've got Breakpoint, the new Ghost Recon game, Beyond Good and Evil 2, as we said, I reckon Skull and Bones. Watch Dogs 3, we'll come back to that.
Well, that's my prediction, that we're going to get an announcement that Watch Dogs 3 is a thing.
In April, Guillemot was interviewed, and he said about Splinter Cell, what does he say? When you create a game, you've got to make sure you come with something that'll be different enough from what you did before. And apparently, he basically intimated that a lot of because of the fan feedback they had to Blacklist and Conviction, a lot of the Ubisoft studios didn't really want to work on Splinter Cell. They were nervous about it, basically thinking...
Oh, but Blacklist was really good.
Blacklist was great. I thought it was a brilliant game. Yeah, and it did address a lot of the issues that people had with Conviction. But he's gone on to say there are now some things and some people that are looking at the brand, taking care of the brand, and at one point you'll see something, but I can't say more than that. So that was in April.
I wonder if we don't get... If Watch Dogs 3 is announced, then you're not getting a Splinter Cell.
No, I would agree, and I think Watch Dogs 3 is more likely this year.
Maybe. I've still not completed 2. But I think if you get
that's not what Ubisoft are basing
3.
their conference on, Ali, what you've completed or not.
But it would just be another game.
No, stop. We cannot announce Watch Dogs 3 because Ali has not completed it.
Oh, yeah, too right, yeah.
Since when did Sebastian Loeb work for?
Hello, I'm Sebastian. I work for Ubisoft now.
Do you think we'll get another Fusion game or an update on it? A bit of trials?
They're still in the DLC cycle of the last game, aren't they? So unless there's something radical they want to chuck in game mode wise, or actually it wouldn't surprise me if there was something free offered up on the console stores during E3, because Ubisoft are usually quite good for things like that. Just
they've got to have something wacky and out there.
Yeah, but I'm not sure we'll get anything revolutionary, but I think it'll get referenced because it's been a decent selling title. It's a great game. They might just use the opportunity to remind people it's out there and boost a few sales.
Yeah. Just a completely side note as well. I was watching, there's a program on Netflix, I think it's about the fight or something like that, which is all about For Honor.
All right.
And they're making that, and the designer had this idea about this game for about 10 years before he actually managed to get it to be made, and Ubisoft listened to him and got it out there. So it's really interesting. It's about an hour and a half long, but really, really interesting.
I suppose another possibility is a Rainbow Six announcement.
I don't know, because they're doing the seasons, aren't they? That's where they're at with a lot of their titles, is they put out a decent base game, like with Rainbow Six is really good, but then they just supplement it with extra seasons. So I think they're on, is it season 6?
It's quite a way, isn't it, now?
Something like that. They just add...
They might mention that there's going to be another season, I suppose. Mind you, they have just announced it, haven't they?
Yeah.
I want to say it's Parabolum, but it wasn't. Was that the one before?
Season...
I can't remember. It's been a while since
we're on season 4 at the moment, which ends in December.
Oh, so maybe not anything on Rainbow Six. That's just ticking along though, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think we'll see anything from South Park. Whether we get another Raving Rabbids and Mario game, don't know, because that's a couple of years old now. There could be another one of those, because that's really good fun. But other than that, yeah, it'd be interesting. I love watching the Ubisoft ones because they're just wacky.
Yeah, they're insane,
Great.
aren't they?
Yeah.
And so other publishers, you mentioned Square earlier on because we talked a bit about Avengers, but that's not necessarily the only thing they've got to talk about because they are the kings of RPGs.
Yeah.
I've got one that's not on our list.
Go on then.
Rocksteady.
Yeah, there's been they've been quiet. The last thing they did was it some DLC or VR or something?
It was the Arkham VR, wasn't it? The last thing they were involved.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of rumours they're going to be doing another DC based game. It's not going to be a Batman game because the rumour is that's WB Montreal who are doing the next Batman game,
which could also be announced at E3 apparently.
Yeah, the rumour is Justice League.
Yeah,
and it comes from there's kind of the rationale behind them making an announcement is that in February they posted job adverts for a lead brand artist who can, in quotes, create world-class marketing materials for an exciting AAA game. And they also look for a video promo artist to assist with a global marketing campaign for a very high-profile AAA game franchise. And then basically they employed somebody last week as a QA tester called Eddie Stubbington, who immediately posted a tweet saying, "Yay, I'm going to be working at Rocksteady as a QA tester," with a picture of the Justice League attached to it. And that was deleted almost immediately and replaced with exactly the same wording, but a Jonah Hill gif. And I was having a look at their website earlier, and it's all what I struck was most interesting. They've got a lot of 2-year contracts for QA testers and technical people at the moment, and analysts.
Ooh.
And it makes me wonder, is it going to be online game as a service type thing? If they're taking people on, if they're committing to people to do those kind of roles for the next 2 years, either they're not as far along in development or they're committing to something for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless it's DLC and things that they may be, committing to. There was quite a bit of DLC, not so much for the Arkham Asylum. I don't think there was any DLC for that as such, if I remember rightly.
No, I think you're right. I think it was just self-contained, wasn't it?
I don't know why I'm questioning myself. There wasn't any DLC for that, but there was for the others. So whether they're latching onto the DLC thing, and that's the 2-year cycle.
It went horribly wrong with Arkham Knight, didn't it? The post release. So I don't know. Maybe
no, it worked all right.
Yeah,
it was shocking on the PC.
The entire game was shocking on the PC. It wasn't the DLC; it was the whole release and right from launch. But console, it was quite smooth, and the DLC was nice and actually encouraged you to in effect 100% the DLC as well as the game.
So my money's on Rocksteady bringing out something Justice League-y.
Yeah.
Where do you think they're going to show it, Andy? Do you think they'll just do it in the Coliseum? Do you think it'll be on the show floor? Or do you think it will be on Microsoft stand?
That'd be interesting.
It's got to be, because 9 times out of 10 you can kind of go, PlayStation might have this, Xbox will have that, and you can kind of distribute some of them out. This year, it's either here or it's just coming out randomly.
So to try and work out where it's going to be, what have Warner Brothers done in the past? Whenever they've announced a game, because to my memory, they've not necessarily partnered with anyone, have they?
No one about Rocksteady.
Yeah, but it'd be published
the publisher
by Warner
is Warner Brothers.
Oh, they are, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think to get the big exposure, the impact, it's got to be on, in a big stand that's getting the numbers. It'll get the numbers regardless.
But anything here gets massive amounts of press coverage. It doesn't have to be tied to the console, because we know the publishers will do their own bits. Like I said, this I'm not aware of Warner Brothers doing a showcase, but it doesn't mean that they won't.
Depends what they've got to show, I guess, if they've got enough. But no, it's interesting because there are a lot of awesome games that we won't even know about till. Well, I would say EGX, but that's by the by.
Because we've got Gamescom yet to come. We've got Tokyo Game Show. You've got Paris Games Week. So the E3 is not the only show for announcements. And I think, in fairness, as we've seen from a number of them recently, publishers, etc., that they don't wait for the press shows anymore. They do them when they're ready.
Or just before you record.
the entire way of marketing and selling things now is totally different from the point when E3 and the other shows were originally set up as press events. It's completely different now. So
I suppose now, if you want to, if you don't want to get lost in the absolute flood of news and releases and everything else, then you've got to capitalize on it. Like a lot of companies are doing just before.
Yeah.
Look at Activision Infinity Ward tomorrow.
Yeah. And I think E3 is now more for actually hands-on and in-depth looks at what they're doing rather than announcing it's happening in the first place. But we'll see. We'll see how much we learn in the next 2 weeks, because there might be a fair amount.
Cool. Yeah. Any other predictions?
No, I just said that. I'd have a slight prediction that we might hear something from Capcom. And I think we might get news of the next Resident Evil game.
Ooh.
Interesting. Is it a brand new... Not
the next mainline one. There has been a little bit of a circulating rumour about Nemesis getting a remake like Resi 2. But actually, I wonder if we'll start to hear something about 8. Whatever form that's going to take, because we are a couple of years on since Resident Evil 7, and I think it's about time, especially after how well that was received and Resident Evil 2 was received.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, the remake went down a treat, and I think everyone that I know pretty much got it and loved it, because they did a really good job of that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they try and capitalise on that and bring us an entirely new game of some kind, and go with it.
That's it. I think that's what we might hear something from Capcom, if we hear anything. Unless of course they just announced another Bomberman game.
Bomberman game using the new engine for Resident Evil.
Yeah. The RE7 engine. Yeah.
I would definitely play a Nemesis remake, because that's one of the games I've not actually played the original of. So
that's great.
It'd be a good opportunity for me to go and do that finally.
Yeah. And I'll mention one more, which I think we've already know this is going to be shown anyway. But Final Fantasy VII. That's going to get more coverage. I'm a bit the same as you, Ali, on it. I'm not a massive RPG fan.
Whoa. No. I'm a massive RPG fan.
You're just not a Final Fantasy fan?
I'm not just a fan of Final Fantasy VII.
It's just a specific game.
Yeah,
I'm with you on this.
There's too much hype behind it.
I think I've said it before, and I think I say it. I'll probably say it again, because I've got to repeat the useful and good things that I say occasionally. But I think Final Fantasy games, I think you have one that you really gel with, and then all the rest you kind of are just shades of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the new one was good. 15 was good. I enjoyed
good.
that.
12 is my jam.
Everyone, well, that's only because you could set up your own little programs within it.
Because I'm a nerd, yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy the Final Fantasy series. 8 was my jam. I love that game. I've played 7 and I enjoyed it, but I just find there's too much hype behind it, and I do feel that the remake is going on a little bit too long. For saying it's meant to be episodic released as well, you would have thought that we'd at least have, if we didn't have the first episode, we'd be at least 2 episodes deep by now for a game that's going to be pretty big. You would have thought that we would be somewhere down the line by now, and people going, where's my next installment, if they're still doing it that way. And I just think, how long ago was it they initially said, and we got that trailer?
A couple of years.
Oh god, yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah.
3, maybe 4 years.
I thought it was 2. It might be 3.
And just come on, where is it? It's meant to be episodic. Get it out there.
You should have finished one of the episodes by now.
Said it might not be episodic anymore.
I mean, it's a massive game. It's over 4 CDs, for goodness' sake.
I think they've confirmed it. I think they've confirmed it still to be episodic recently.
Right. So we're going to see that from Square anyway.
Do you think, because we're on the, it won't be a podcast without talking about it. Do you think we will see something from IO about Hitman, about some new DLC? I know they've announced the bank that's coming out, but do you think we'll see anything from them anywhere?
No. I think they've been quite clear on their roadmap.
Can I make a really, really ludicrous speculation?
Yeah, of course you can.
I want to see a port of Hitman on the Switch.
Yes.
At the very least, the collection, the HD collection, but
yeah,
Hitman 2016 on the Switch.
Yeah.
Well, didn't you get an answer to that, Ali, when you interviewed the guy?
He didn't say no. He just said that it was. It kind of, if the demand is there, they'd look at it.
It's just not something
they're not looking at it.
It was the technical limitations you mentioned.
Yeah, but you could get Hitman 1 on it, surely.
I think your HD collection's a more realistic possibility.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Speaking of the Switch, what about these new iterations that have been rumoured?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's just people's wishful thinking and someone's gone, oh, look, they're announcing this. I don't know, because there's nothing official. There's nothing been announced about them. It could happen because they're on about doing an XL, and they have been known for their XLs, whether we get an SX, because people have said about having a smaller one. I don't think it would go any smaller, personally.
I think the rumours have been there's going to be a Pro one with an improved screen, more energy efficient. Yeah, it doesn't sound like they're gonna dramatically improve the hardware or the specifications, because I don't think they want to divide. I don't think they want to split the market in that way. The other one is the kind of the budget version that's been rumored, which sounds like it'll do away with the rumble feature and might have the Joy-Con controllers permanently attached and not be dockable. So it sounds like it's a kid's version, basically.
Yeah,
is what they're going for. What? Just like a big chunky plastic Switch that you can't take apart, lose, or destroy.
No, and you could beat someone with. Don't know. It's possible, but you can't predict anything with a Nintendo.
No, that's very true. Very, very true.
They are kings of random. You think Ubisoft have got it. Ubisoft have got the funny edge, and Nintendo have just, well, this is what you thought we were going to do. No, we're not even going to touch them. Screw you. We're just going to hand over to someone that's got a few other opinions about E3 and has actually been himself, and he does frequent the podcast quite often. Some say he visits an iron brew factory to add sugar. He is Stuart Cullen, our pet Glaswegian.
All right. Hi. So, E3 predictions. I think this year will be a very low-key affair. I think with the missing of the likes of EA's there and not there, Sony, Nintendo being Nintendo, obviously they're doing the direct presentation again. So it seems year on year that the show's dwindling, but to what some may believe is dwindling, I would argue is actually a more interesting floor, shall we say, for the kind of your double A's and your kind of indie guys, and maybe a wee bit more of the kind of experimental stuff. But when it comes to the nitty gritty, what am I kind of expecting from the actual presentations? Probably run for a few of them. Xbox are probably going to have the lion's share of this year's event, I imagine. I think they're going to basically rally around the Gears of War shaped flag. I think it'll be pretty much the backbone of the presentation, which is totally understandable as it's coming out pretty soon. I also think that they'll announce a beta, possibly live, you could play it now. Failing that, there'll be some new game added to Games Pass live on the stage, which is always a nice wee thing. We might get a snifter in Halo Infinity, unlikely, because I hear that's now been pushed to an Xbox launch title. Speaking of which, we'll probably get a teaser trailer of PR tech heads talking about the future of the power, stroking plastic cases and stuff as you do, which is always the way, but I don't think we'll see a picture of the box or its proper name, but we'll get a release window in next holidays. It's probably next October, November time. Beyond that, I expect maybe a snifter of Playground's Fable coming. I would expect that to happen, because if we don't get that this year, it's going to be a next gen title, definitely, I imagine. Possibly, well, also expect the next expansion pack for Forza Horizon 4 to be announced. Is this year we're not going to have another Horizon, not another Horizon, but another Forza main title, so it's a kind of oddity in the fact that there's not a main installment of that or Horizon being announced, so it leaves the door open to that. Expect lots of indie stuff in that for them as well. As for Sony, they've kind of already started the party with the Death Stranding news, which I think in turn has kind of impacted The Last of Us 2, which I think a lot of people will believe in now, that if we're getting Death Stranded at the end of this year, that The Last of Us 2 will slip to the early next year. So it could be the last hurrah for the PS4, but I don't imagine the PS5 is that close. Again, next year's Christmas kind of period for that, I would imagine. Beyond that, I expect to see maybe more in the way of kind of VR stuff from them. I kind of hope they do that. I expect an update about the Ninja game, Trosham's Ghost or whatever it was called, very spectacular last year. But again, without having an actual presentation, I don't know how this is going to manifest itself. Nintendo, Bowser's at the wheel, so I expect them to have a bit of fun. I expect them to show off things like Animal Crossing, the new Pokemon, possibly Metroid, all good stuff. We might even get a snifter of the next DLC character for Smash. And Nintendo always seem to keep something up their sleeve, so I'm expecting something, maybe a new Labo set that's even more wackier and zanier than the VR set and stuff we just got, so I'm kind of excited to see that. Moving away from the kind of big parties, with stuff like EA, Ubisoft, Square. It's open things. There's every day at the moment we're hearing that like Ubisoft are bringing Beyond Good and Evil 2 and EA's not bringing Need for Speed. So what does that really leave us? Well, not a lot really. There'll be the usual FIFA, Madden, NFL, NBA update standard. There may be a kind of niche little indie game. In past years we've had Unraveled and A Way Out, so that's always quite nice to see for EA's side at least. Possibly we'll get snifters of a Star Wars game. I expect it, very much so. But other than that, I don't really know. We're a bit in a kind of void, you know. And they don't. I think that's maybe why they're not showing. They're having such a big presentation. Whereas the flip side, Ubisoft have already kind of hinted that we'll obviously get maybe the Viking Assassin's Creed, a new Sam Fisher, the Crew 3, a lot of good, interesting stuff. A lot of sequels or prequels. Which is a bit meh. Personally, I'd like to see maybe a bit more news about Rainbow Six, just to see if we're actually, if we're ever going to actually get a second Siege, or if we're still going to run this engine into the ground. It seems they've just launched another 2 operators, so we'll see. But again, with them missing Skull and Bones and Beyond Good and Evil 2, it leaves a kind of. It's not so much what's not being shown; it's more a case of that if they're not being shown, it's the opening they create for everyone. That's the interesting thing. It shouldn't be a case of, we're down in the dumps because they're not showing these titles. To be fair, we know about these titles. It's the unknown titles, so if they're not there, that means it's more showtime for the unknown guys. Square Enix will probably show the remaster of Final Fantasy VII. Take it or leave it, which is fine. We're going to get seen the Avengers one as well, which has been developed by Crystal Dynamics, which sounds pretty exciting. But beyond that as well, you're going to have stuff like THQ Nordic, which will no doubt show an imaginary, good word, of bits and bobs. Rebellion's going to be there as well. They're probably going to show Evil Genius 2. Maybe a tech demo for Sniper Elite 5. And possibly a few other bits and bobs. I really hope they show us a Judge Dredd game, because I know they put the tenders out for that a few years ago, so they should kind of be bearing fruit just now. So that's quite exciting. But beyond that, it's pretty much a case of that's the kind of the major framework. I don't imagine it'll go down in the history books as the greatest E3 of all times, but I imagine it's evolution each show, without such big players doing presentations and stuff like that. We're kind of the shifts coming, and that's before you get to stuff like COD, because we don't know who COD's going to align with. COD's the last few years has been aligned with Sony, play their first and stuff. So are they going to align with Microsoft now? Because obviously Microsoft's got a presentation and a big presence, whereas Sony don't. So that's an interesting one. Or is Sony going to do a cheeky direct style video again, an access video during the show? Again, we don't know about that. So it's open to interpretation, but yeah, I imagine we'll kind of walk out. I don't think this is the death of this gen's E3. I think we've at least got one more in us before we can say goodbye to the kind of old school stuff. But I definitely think this is where they'll ramp up the content in the games, and you'll get more interesting and kind of more out there titles to play coming forward. And I totally embrace that. Whether that be treble A or indie, as well as the kind of tech that we're doing, the kind of Labo, VR, whatever it may be. It's all pushing in that direction. So yeah, I'm not as hyped at the moment, but that's because there's nothing really to be hyped at. Because to be fair, I'm getting excited about project names and projects, like looking at black boxes and that. At the end of the day, black box is a black box. It's what the worlds and universes that lets me enjoy and journey to, and tales I can tell. That's where the enjoyment comes from. So I think that'll be next year's E3, or they'll do a cheeky wee thing at Gamescom like they did with the X and show it there. But as it stands, yeah, that's my kind of predictions, a kind of vast shotgun pellet shot approach to the kind of where we're going to be and where we're going to go. Hopefully we don't cross over too much with the rest of the guys, but yeah, that's my 10 pence, and no doubt you'll all be able to link up after the show and we can comment on who was right and who was wrong playing that age-old game E3 bingo. Anyway, I'll catch you later, guys. Catchies.
Right, come on then. What have the listeners been predicting?
One of Stuart Neal's predictions goes on a Sega tangent about their presentation, which is rubbish because they're not even doing a presentation.
Are we ignoring that ludicrous?
That's the point about the ludicrous predictions, Ali. They're all fake.
Well, I know they're all fake, but it's got to be an essence of truth in it for it to, be ludicrously but possibly true. But he's on about Shenmue 3. I guess that's going to be on the Sony thing whenever they do their thing, whatever it is they're doing.
Is it exclusive to the PlayStation?
I don't know whether it's exclusive, but I think they've got, I don't know, some kind of, the publishers lean towards one hardware, because I think there was something to do with
maybe I'm not really following Shenmue 3, if I'm honest.
I did like his point about I don't entirely feel you're getting the spirit of it there, Ali, when you're looking at them.
Oh, I know they're meant to be ludicrous and completely out there, but Stu goes to another level of mentalness with these things to the point I don't understand.
I think he's almost nailed it with the Kojima Productions one, though, which is Kojima Productions presentation for Death Stranding will be Kojima on stage introducing a nonsensical trailer. Think perfume advert, but moodier. Bringing out Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro. All of them reach inside their jackets and pull out hip flasks, each of which is a different shape but looks similar to something in the trailer. Opening them, clink together, have a drink, and then for the next 3 minutes and 27 seconds exactly, the three men stand on stage noiselessly gulping down air.
The one that he did put was Doug Bowser will be dressed as Bowser for at least part of the Nintendo presentation.
That's got to happen, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's not even ludicrous. That's possibly going to happen. Or at least have a T-shirt or something on. And then Deadpool to be announced as DLC for Mortal Kombat 11. Possible.
Oh, that's a nice one, because I've been racking my brains over who they could potentially bring in. And Deadpool would be very good in that game.
EA will announce that Tiger Woods is back as a cover star of the next PGA game because he's actually won something again.
Yeah, that's not beyond the realms of possibility.
I quite like the suggestion of Power Loader DLC for Forklift Simulator 2019.
Yeah, I'd play that.
I'd definitely play that. Can you imagine the tutorial? Lift these boxes. Put these missiles on the dropship. Escort this alien queen off the Slarko. That'd be great.
Yes. Forklift Simulator 19 is on pre-order on Steam at the moment.
Yeah.
Power Loader DLC is not true, sadly. Did we get any predictions from anybody that wasn't Stuart Neal?
No. You know what he's like whenever you ask him to make a list? He loves it too much.
Mark Hamer said Nintendo are going to pivot. Nintendo are going to pivot to a cloud-based as a service. Nintendo will pivot to a cloud-based games as a service model with voice chat directly from the Switch. That would be nice, though, wouldn't it? Achievements, Twitch connectivity, and they'll get the Devolver Digital people to handle their Direct and Treehouse streams.
I'd like to see that. There's probably elements of that aren't too far from the truth.
Yep.
So there you go. If you've got any crazy speculation or even some sensible speculation about what's going to be coming out at E3, then why not get in touch with us by tweeting at Codec Moments? Then Matt can deal with it.
Yeah, we want to know what you think. We want to know what you want. Actually, what do you want to come out at E3 this year that's within the realms of possibility? Let us know.
Right, well, thank you very much. That was quite good fun. I quite enjoyed talking about some of the stuff we're hoping to see.
Yeah.
Now, this bit obviously gets dropped. Are we going to do a live post E3 show? I know we had it down as we were going to do it, but
I think we should try. That could be good.
As I've only got one date that weekend I can do. I can only do the Friday night.
Which day is that?
It's like the 14th.
Yeah, should be right.
Yeah, I can make it work. Shut up, cat.
In fact, I will double check I can do the Friday night.
I think I could do that. That would probably work. Do you want me to come to yours? And then we could do the live
Either or.
With Ali on Skyping in.
Whichever way you want to do it.
Hanging out.
The thing is, you have got everything set up at yours.
I can go portable.
In all honesty, there's probably more room at yours.
Yeah.
You have more desk space, I'll put it that way.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Right, so yeah, that's our E3 speculation. We'll know in a couple of weeks whether it's right or wrong, and we're planning on bringing that to you live. There will be a live show.
Yeah.
When will that be?
We're thinking it's going to be the 14th of June, and we will keep you notified on Twitter. We will try and give people at least 10 days notice this time once we've got dates confirmed and technical gremlins sorted out. We will also remind everybody on the next podcast, which is going to be the May Codec Momentum update.
Yeah. Matt might look a little bit grayer after doing all those calculations, but unlucky.
Yeah, well, I've been doing my bit for his sanity and that in having completely failed to complete any games. So
I've done one. I need to tweet.
Right, and on that Excel boredom clip, good night.
Bye.
Goodbye. Good day.
Bye.
See you later.